In the world of spiritual teachings, few concepts are as universally revered and as deeply profound as nirvana. For centuries it has been the ultimate goal for countless Buddhist practitioners, and it continues to intrigue seekers across the globe. But what does nirvana truly mean, and how does it fit into the broader picture of Buddhist philosophy? How is it relevant to our lives, both spiritually and practically? In this video, we will explore the true essence of nirvana, its meaning, significance, and the transformative impact it can have on one's life. By understanding the path to nirvana, we can start seeing how its teachings apply not only in Buddhist monastic settings, but also in our everyday world. We will take a deep dive into how nirvana is not some distant, unattainable ideal, but a deeply transformative experience, one that can influence our thoughts, actions, and perceptions of the world. Stick with us as we unravel the concept of nirvana and its relevance today. What is nirvana? Nirvana is a term that has been interpreted in various ways, especially in the context of Western culture. The Sanskrit word nirvana literally means blowing out, extinction, or quenching, which carries the imagery of extinguishing a fire. In this case, the fire represents the inner flames of desire, attachment, and ignorance, the three poisons that bind us to the cycle of suffering. But the question remains, what exactly is nirvana, and what does it mean for a Buddhist practitioner? At its core, nirvana in Buddhism is the ultimate state of liberation and enlightenment, where a person is freed from the perpetual cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. This cycle is driven by ignorance, desire, and attachment, all of which cause suffering. By attaining nirvana, a person has eradicated these inner afflictions, and in doing so, they experience an unshakable peace that transcends the turmoil of the material world. In the simplest terms, nirvana represents the cessation of suffering. It is the state of perfect freedom and serenity where the individual no longer experiences the emotional, mental, or physical pain associated with attachment and craving. For a person who has reached nirvana, there is no longer any desire for worldly pleasure, no fear of loss, and no more suffering from the transient nature of life. This is not a state of blissful ignorance, but a state of profound awareness and peace, free from the ignorance that clouds one's understanding of reality. Understanding the role of suffering. To comprehend nirvana fully, we must first understand the nature of suffering in Buddhism, as suffering is central to the Buddhist worldview. The Buddha's first teachings centered around dukkha, which is the Pali word often translated as suffering. According to Buddhist philosophy, suffering is an inevitable part of human existence, whether it is physical pain, emotional distress, or the existential dissatisfaction that comes from the impermanent nature of life. Suffering arises when we are attached to things that are impermanent, such as our relationships, material possessions, and even our own sense of self. Because everything is in a constant state of flux, clinging to these things creates frustration. The root cause of suffering, according to the Buddha, is craving, the insatiable desire for things to be other than they are. This craving keeps us trapped in samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. In the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha provided a framework for understanding suffering and its cessation. The truth of suffering. Dukkha. Life involves suffering, whether it's obvious suffering, such as pain and illness, or more subtle forms like dissatisfaction and frustration. The truth of the cause of suffering. Samudaya. Suffering arises from craving and attachment. When we cling to transient things, suffering inevitably follows. The truth of the cessation of suffering. Nirodha. It is possible to end suffering by relinquishing attachment and craving. The truth of the path, leading to the cessation of suffering. Magga. The Eightfold Path is the practical guide to achieving the cessation of suffering. The cessation of suffering is the central aim of the Buddhist path. Nirvana is the ultimate end of this path, representing the liberation from suffering and the attainment of lasting peace. The path, leading to Nirvana. While Nirvana might seem like an abstract or far-off concept, the Buddha made it clear that there is a tangible and attainable path leading to it. This path is known as the Noble Eightfold Path, which consists of 8 interrelated principles that guide us toward mental clarity, ethical conduct, and wisdom. The Eightfold Path is not a linear progression. Rather, it is a dynamic process in which wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline work together in a mutually reinforcing way. The 8 factors are as follows: right understanding, samadhi. This refers to understanding the nature of reality as outlined in the 4 Noble Truths. It involves seeing the world as it truly is and understanding the impermanence of all things. Right intent, samma sankappa. This means cultivating the intention to act in ways that are free from desire, hatred, and delusion. It includes renunciation of harmful attachments and the wish to cause no harm to others. Right speech, sammavaka. Speaking truthfully, kindly and helpfully, avoiding gossip, lying, and harsh words. Right action, sammakamanta. Acting ethically by avoiding actions that harm others, such as killing, stealing, or engaging in sexual misconduct. Right livelihood, samma ajva. Earning a living in a way that does not cause harm to others, such as avoiding jobs that contribute to exploitation or suffering. Right effort, samma vayama. Making a determined effort to cultivate wholesome qualities and abandon unwholesome ones, thereby progressing on the path to nirvana. Right mindfulness, samma sati. Cultivating awareness in all aspects of life, whether in relation to our body, feelings, thoughts, or external phenomena. Mindfulness is the key to seeing things clearly and understanding the impermanence of all experiences. Right concentration, samma samadhi. Developing deep concentration and meditation to gain insight into the true nature of reality. It involves focusing the mind and cultivating a state of deep meditative absorption, leading to the direct experience of nirvana. By following the Eightfold Path, a practitioner purifies their mind and actions, gradually removing the obstacles to enlightenment. It is through continuous practice of these principles that one can ultimately reach nirvana. Nirvana in Buddhist practice. Nirvana is often described in Buddhist teachings as being beyond ordinary experience, but it is also said to be an experience that can be encountered even in our daily lives. Achieving nirvana is not about retreating from the world or attaining some distant mystical state. Instead, it's about understanding the nature of reality and practicing in a way that brings greater peace, freedom, and understanding. In the Theravada tradition, nirvana is often understood as a state attained at the moment of death, when the cycle of samsara is finally broken. However, in the Mahayana tradition, there is an understanding of bodhisattvas, beings who are motivated by compassion to delay their own full enlightenment in order to help others attain nirvana. The bodhisattva ideal emphasizes that nirvana is not just an individual pursuit, it's a communal one, aimed at the well-being of all sentient beings. Practically speaking, nirvana can also be experienced as brief moments of insight, peace, and clarity that arise through mindfulness and meditation. These glimpses of nirvana come when the mind is free of attachment, when desires are relinquished, and when the individual is fully present in the moment. These experiences can lead to a deep sense of calm and equanimity, giving a taste of what nirvana truly feels like. The essence of nirvana. Nirvana cannot be fully explained through words or concepts because it transcends the limitations of language and thought. It is not a place, a goal, or an endpoint. It is the end of all mental and emotional afflictions. When the mind is liberated from the binding forces of desire and delusion, nirvana is realized. Many Buddhist texts describe nirvana using negations, what it is not. It is not suffering, not birth, not death, and not attachment. These descriptions point to the nature of nirvana as a state of absolute freedom from the conditions of the ordinary world. Nirvana is the culmination of the Buddhist path. It represents the ultimate liberation from suffering and the ignorance that causes it. Through the cultivation of mindfulness, ethical living, and meditation, a practitioner can gradually uncover the peace that comes from seeing the world without the distortion of desire and attachment. While nirvana might seem like an unattainable goal for many, it is, in fact, the birthright of every sentient being. It is the state of being at peace with oneself and with the world, free from the suffering caused by clinging, craving, and fear. As we move forward on our own journeys, let us remember that nirvana is not a distant ideal, but a present possibility. Each moment of awareness, each step taken with mindfulness, is a step closer to the peace that is already within us. Through practice, patience, and dedication, we can all move toward the realization of nirvana in our own lives. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the heart of nirvana. May it bring peace and clarity into your life and inspire you to take the next step on the path to liberation.